Hey guys, I am the 50s kid. Behind me is an E46 and I'm going to show you how to change the shocks on all four wheels. In order to get the rear struts loose, we're going to need to remove the nuts from inside the trunk. And in order to get at them, we're going to need to remove this panel here. So to start with, I'm just going to remove the rug. This just pulls out. And this also just comes out. Just set that over here. Now, in order to get these black trays out, you got to get these loose. And to do that, one of these little tools is really helpful. It helps you to remove these pieces of trim here. These little hold down things. Just came out together. Set that aside, and there are two more. There's one right here. Come back here. So there's one, and the second one is up here. Cool. So now we can pull our little piece of carpeting out. Always difficult with one hand. Here. And I think I'll just kind of hold it away like that. I'll peel this rubber boot back. It's not really a boot, it's just more insulation and whatnot. And that's it. That's the nut that we need to get off. Actually, it's these two nuts right here. That'll let it drop. In fact, I think I'm gonna drop the seats down. Push that forward just so I can get this off of here. Just get it up and out. I might want to go around to the front just to make sure I know what I'm doing before I rip things. You know what? Screw it. We're just gonna tuck it through here. Yeah, there you go. That'll just stay like that. Let's go ahead and get the wheel off. You want to get your jack underneath the suspension to support it. Otherwise, the coil spring is just going to shoot the thing down once you disconnect the shock. There, take up a little tension. This is an 18. And these are 13s up here. All right, let's go ahead and test this shock too. See if it's the same as the other side. I'm compressing it down, and it looks like it does not return, just like the other side. So hey, good thing I'm replacing them both. You should always replace both sides anyway, by the way. One thing I want to point out is in the previous video I did say that I had the sport suspension. I was mistaken. I did not realize that I have the regular suspension. Didn't realize it until I took these part numbers and went to look up some replacement shocks and realized that I have the non-sport suspension. So anyway, that's how you find out. You can just get under the car, look at these labels, and clean them off if they're dirty, and go and take a look on realoem.com and figure out which one you have. We need to transfer all of the hardware over to the new strut, the dust sleeve, the bump stop, the mounting hardware. So we need to get this nut off here. It's a 16, and it looks like there's a space to hold it with a wrench. It's actually like a 6mm wrench. You would just hold it on the top right here, and then you can use a normal wrench to get off the 16mm nut. But I'm going to try to use an impact to see if that'll just spin it off, if like the tension of this will spin it off. It probably won't, but let's just see. Can't see. It just wants to sort of spin forever. I could try to grip this and hold it with like a vice grip or something and spin it off, which I probably will try to do. Let's see how that works. This is my grandfather's vice grip. I love the thing. Nice. That was easy. So we'll go ahead, reuse the mount and the cup, as well as the washer, followed by the bump stop and the dust sleeve. So, cut off this band that's keeping this shock closed. And flip this over. Okay. And they supplied a new nut. There's actually a bigger fender washer along with the shock, but I'm not going to use that washer. That's that nut. I'm not going to use the washer. I'm just going to use the new nut. Should always use new lock nuts whenever anything calls for a lock nut. New lock nut. It's probably bigger than a 16. I find that they usually are if you're going aftermarket. It's a 17. I'm just going to hold that with my hand. Well, to get this any tighter, I am going to have to hold it with my wrench there. I'm use a 17. Where are we? That's pretty tight. Anyway, it's going to be a little awkward to hold the shock up from one side and get those bolts on top of it from underneath. So rather than do that, I think I'm going to put the shock back where it is and just move it up a little and use the bolt to hold it in place here. See, just get the bolt kind of started, a couple of turns. Now the shock will be held in place, and we'll go and secure it up top and then back down here at the bottom. So now we can put these 13mm nuts back on. And put this 18mm fastener back in. So the torque is 44 foot-pounds, if you care. Probably not going to be necessary. See? Not necessary at all if you have an impact gun driver. Let go. So to do the front struts, there's one 18mm bolt right here. Also need to get the sway bar link loose. That's this little rod right here. Got to get that loose from the strut. It's a 16, and I'm hoping that this is just going to get it off. No, I'm going to have to hold it from behind. So that's what you need to do. You need to slip a 16mm wrench onto the back of the strut, in front of the strut but behind the little mount point. And hopefully I can do this one-handed here. Eventually the wrench will stop up against the body. I can just get it off. So that's where I was holding it. That's where I was holding the wrench. You can see that there's just a little slot for an open end box wrench right on the back of it. And you can see that after I took off that 18mm bolt, that also held the bracket for the brake line and the ABS line and the wheel speed sensor, all that stuff. So now this strut can come out. It's just held in at the top here, and we get to that from inside the engine. So here's the other side of that strut. You can see where it's slipping down through the upper steering knuckle. And you can see that this just pinches together over the strut. So the difficult thing is getting that loose. So I'm gonna put my pry bar in here and just kind of pry on it. Try to open it up a little. Yeah, it looks like we're loose. And again, I'm gonna slip the jack underneath the front steering knuckle and just hold it in place. Strut's held on by 3/13s up on the top here. Gimme. So now I will slowly lower the suspension. So I can see that I've got some tension on the brake hose right here, so I'm going to lift the suspension back up because that's not good. So this is the tool that you need to rent in order to do this job on any front spring. As you can see, it has these two pins here, and this is the kind you need, by the way. You want the ones with the pins because it makes it so much safer, just in case something does go wrong. But basically the idea behind this tool is you hook it on and kind of really awkwardly get it over the springs like this and tighten it down. You're going to need an impact once it's tight. On this other side, I can only get it on these two. So you want to get them equidistant from one another. And I'm going to do this on the floor with it facing away from me. That way, just in case anything happens, it's going to spring that way. So that nut in there is a 21, I believe. And as you can see, there's an Allen head in the middle. And in order to actually use that Allen head, I would actually need like probably a special socket with like some hex heads on, like a deep socket with hex heads on with a hex head on the outside of it that you could just grab with a wrench out here or something. So hopefully this will work. You kind of usually need an impact when you're doing one of these because of this. So let's see if this works. And there's still a little tension on it, which concerns me because it's probably going to be very difficult to compress the new one on the new strut Might have to reposition things and pull the spring, compress the spring down a little bit more. But we'll cross that road when we get there. You can see that this bearing is, the grease is pretty dried out in it. So I'm probably going to clean the grease out and put some new stuff in there just to make sure. But I'm also not going to replace it because it's really not moving all that much. It's maybe doing this, if anything, as you're turning. But that's all it's doing. I've gone to, I'm just trying to move these right now, and I just kind of realized something here. These pins are not positioned in the tool properly. I think somebody, whoever borrowed this thing from the auto parts store before me, just kind of put these on incorrectly, and I didn't even realize it. But basically, they're supposed to go this way because these little nail heads are what keep the spring locked in the channel. So that is not cool, whoever did that. But that's how it should be. And now it, you know, when you put it in place, it stays in there because that ball stays inside that detent pin. What dickheads there are in the world. Don't do this. So take the old bump stop out, and the lower rubber will get transferred over to the new strut, which I have right here. And you can see on the old rubber where the spring went. You can tell that it lived right there. So let me recompress this spring. So I've needed to reposition the tool upside down from how I had it. Now I'm tightening it with the bolts on the bottom, because I wasn't able to slip the tool on and off easily on this side right here, because it's just too close to the spring where the spring is and where that retaining plate is. But anyway, this seems to I seem to have gotten it compressed enough. I'm on 3 rungs of the spring on both sides. And I've packed a little bit of new grease into this bearing here, not much, but it's, you know, it's not really making that much noise. So it's not making any noise, so I'm fine with that. I think this cover plate went on it because I cleaned out a lot of crud from this inner surface, and it seems to go there. And there is a little washer that has this little indent on it, and I see that same pattern in there, so I think that washer goes on right there, and then this just slips on, and we've got our new nut, and I just have enough threads to get this nut on, I do believe. Whereas that old nut was a 21, new nut's a 19. Just like on the back. Yeah. And I want to try to bottom that nut out. Looks like I have it. So now we can loosen these. Hopefully that'll work. Are we stuck in there? I might need to tap this. I might need to tap this top part over a little bit because it's just stuck in between here a little bit. Same thing for this bottom one, I think. Yeah, see, as I'm loosening that, it's getting pressed down. So I think that one is the one I want to try to loosen first. Tighten that back up. And that side of the tool off. Cool. All done. By the way, this is the original shock, and yeah, it's completely done too. Just like on the back. And don't forget that little cap. So lower the suspension back down. I'll just kind of lower it down even more here. I'll tell you what, Lord knows how I got this out of here. It is not so easy. I'm a little concerned that I'm sort of stressing this brake line when I'm pulling this down and pulling it out, so I'm going to remove the caliper. Compress the piston back in. This thing is asking for punishment. Okay, just setting that thing on top of the lower control arm for now. There. Show you line up that pin up top there. I'm just going to use my floor jack to help lift the whole shock back into place. I'll just tighten these up. Okay, let's put the brake caliper back on. I like having brakes. Wear sensor goes here. It's the bleed nipple. Don't forget that spring. Now we can put that bolt back in. Pinches. Number right there. Is that 18? 18. I'm sure the torque on that is very tight. So that's very, very tight. And for that sway bar link, well, there we go. Well, that was ultimately a success. The fronts were a little bit more than I bargained for, but you know, doable. I just took it out for a test drive and it's a whole lot better now. So I'm glad I did this, and I hope this video helps you. Thanks for watching.